Well, ladies and gentlemen, as the great Tommy Lloyd once said, we don't live in the world of the mock. But today, Damon and I do. We're going to be breaking down Carter Bryant's mock draft evaluations as well as T-Mac's. And is T-Mac being underrated as well as Carter Bryant? We're going to talk about all of that and more in 30 seconds. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast, y'all. Don't you go anywhere.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am Damon Fairall. He is Kevin Thomas. We are in lovely downtown Phoenix at PHNX HQ2, getting ready to make this move to HQ3 in the upcoming future here, Kevin. It's gonna be fun to say. But we got a lot to talk about today, and yeah, we're gonna mock some mocks, I think, because my guy Kevin and I are I think we're a little bit, disappointed in maybe some of the feelings out there about a couple of Wildcats. But Kevin, how we living on a Thursday morning right now?
Things are good. Pulled a crazy Ace Bailey card last night. That was sick.
Glad we got that in early.
Hey, man, a $250 card is a $250 card, Damon. And
we'll peek behind the curtain. I was just making fun of Kevin for
beautiful card,
and he has it in his hand. I was making fun of Kevin for cards and pulling packs being his only personality trait these days, and so he meanwhile decides to bring it up on the podcast less than a minute into the show. Gotta love it.
It's a huge reason why I'm smiling so big today, Damon.
Yeah,
$25 for the box, $250 for the card. What can I tell you? But
yeah, feeling 10 times.
Feeling good. Did a lot of research last night on Carter Bryant's draft stock. You did a lot of research on T-Mac's draft stock. You are so locked in on our guy Tetairoa McMillan, and we're going to talk about all that today. I guess we can start with Carter Bryant, Damon. I was kind of pleasantly surprised going through some of his draft stuff. Also, some of the higher end predictions kind of scared me. And like I said, we're going to get to all that in a second. I think we should start with the Henri Veesaar rumors, though, before we get deep into the weeds on some draft stuff, because Henri Veesaar had a visit yesterday to UNC and has yet to commit.
He did.
He also has the do not contact clause, so it is not like he is really shopping around, Damon, dog. At least that's what it seems on the outside. What does the lack of commitment from Henri Veesaar so far indicate to you?
Well, according to rumors, he is now back in the Tucson area. Obviously he lives in Tucson, so that's not exactly the craziest thing in the world. And his visit, I think, lasted over a day in Chapel Hill. But I think that, leaving without committing, Kevin, is a big deal, right? Like, that's usually when you go on these visits, and especially when you have a do not contact and you go on a visit, feels like it's almost a done deal, right? And I think it's a little bit eyebrow raising that Henri Veesaar is not dropped into or committed to UNC yet, Kevin. And yeah, I mean, I'd say it's definitely encouraging. I wonder how Arizona fans would perceive Henri Veesaar if he did in fact come back now. Like, it feels like there was like there's been a lot of and I hate this word, but like, we've been talking about it, like a lot of like coping, for example, of being like, he's not that good, we'll be fine without him. And I wonder if that flips straight back to the narrative of like, he's our starting center, it's not even a discussion if he comes back to Arizona next year. I don't know. What do you think?
I think most Arizona fans would be happy to have Henri Veesaar back. I do think there would be that small, loud minority on social media that might be outspoken about, oh, well, you didn't want to be a Wildcat, that's just what it is. But I think the vast majority of people are just happy to have a more talented basketball roster to watch next season than not, and would be happy that Henri Veesaar, I don't think rational people would discredit him if this ends up being what it is, for just testing his market after the best season of his career, right? Like, I don't think that I would really knock him for doing that if he were to come back to Arizona. I would just be thankful that Arizona has more front court versatility for next season if Henri Veesaar were to return.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned it. It is all just rumors. Like Henri Veesaar could have taken that visit and come back to talk it over with him and his close group of people that might not have went to North Carolina with him. Any number of things could be a reason as to why Henri Veesaar has yet to commit or not commit to UNC. And yeah, Damon, but it is, as an Arizona Wildcat fan, we have this podcast. This is what we focus on, the Arizona Wildcats side of things. It is encouraging that there hasn't been this, huge sea of rumors as to, oh, he's locked in at UNC. Visit went awesome. Everything was beautiful. He took photos and none of that stuff has come out. Like Jada Williams went to 2 Iowa schools for visits, and we saw those photos same day. You know what I mean? And she committed very soon after that. So I do feel like it's encouraging that Henri Veesaar hasn't, and he's not really a big social media guy anyway, it seems, hasn't done the whole UNC jersey swap thing and all that. And it seems like he's kind of taking this slow. So I'm encouraged, Damon, that Henri Veesaar might yet still be an Arizona Wildcat next season, but I'm not really holding out for I'm not staying up waiting for him to come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. I mean, I think, we're in a situation right now where Tobe Awaka is in the fold, right? Mo Krivas, you expect him back next season. So Arizona isn't necessarily like on its last legs for a center, right? Like this isn't necessarily what you would consider a desperate situation, Kevin. And I think that could play into why Henri Veesaar is considering transferring, right? Because he looks at a guy like Tobe Awaka. Maybe he has information that Tobe really wants to stay, and he's talked to Tobe, and that's a guy who's locked in no matter if he's starting or coming off the bench next year. Same with Krivas, right? Like it seems like Krivas is pretty locked in on Tommy Lloyd and what Arizona basketball has building. So maybe Henri Veesaar is looking at it as more of a situation of, I could play more minutes at a premier program if I transfer out. But yeah, I mean, I'd certainly say that it's encouraging news that he's, not committed yet. And I do think the best version of Arizona basketball next season includes Henri Veesaar as your primary big man, Kevin. Like I don't think that that's a hot take. And I feel like that was kind of the prevailing narrative until it wasn't when he entered the portal, right? So, yeah, I mean, I want Henri Veesaar back. I think that's ideal for this team. And yeah, I like those other players. I want them back as well, and I want them to be role players. But I think the best version of Arizona involves Henri Veesaar playing the majority of the minutes at the 5 position. I don't know about majority because Tobe and him had such a good back and forth last year of both of them playing 20-ish minutes a game and kind of yin and yanging each other. But I do think that he should be like the primary closing lineup big man, like he was this season.
I think he should too, Damon. I again, this was my initial reaction to it, and I understand that money is involved and it's not all a basketball decision, right? But my initial reaction was like, why it's hard to want to see, at least from a fan's perspective, a scheme reset for Motiejus Krivas when we just saw a system focused around Tobe Awaka and Henri Veesaar as the bigs work incredibly well against Big 12 competition, which is what you should be judging yourself off of if you're Arizona. So yeah, I think that the best version of Arizona basketball has Henri Veesaar on it as a part of the team, as a serious minute share of the center position as well. And I see Mike here says it in the chat, Tobe/Veesaar synergy was real. And that's true, Damon. Like they were even starting to experiment with a 2-man game with Tobe and Henri towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because that's how versatile those two players are. And I think that I think you lose that with Krivas. I think you do. It would be a totally different offense. It'd be a totally different look to the team. And again, I don't necessarily think that has to be the bad thing. But I think if you're looking at it in terms of what does Arizona have to do to win a national title, I think keeping Henri Veesaar gets you closer to that.
Definitely.
Than a system surrounding Motiejus Krivas, because now you have to build back up to where you were just at to end last season, as opposed to carrying that momentum into 2026, 2027, right? Or 2025, 2026. You get my point.
Yeah.
You're not carrying momentum in to this season. You're starting at zero again, especially with possibly 2 of your 5 starters being freshmen next season as well. So,
and I wouldn't say that like this is the ideal starting lineup or not starting, but just lineup in general. But I do think that, they obviously can play off of each other a little bit. Henri Veesaar played some of the 4 position this year with Tobe Awaka out on the court. Tobe's a little bit more of a switch big man. On defense, he can defend some of the smaller players on the court in a pinch. You don't want it all the time. He's not Bam Adebayo or Anthony Davis, but he does a good job when he gets matched up on guards from time to time. And if you have Henry as more of the rim presence and Tobe can do the switching, like I think that they can play together, especially if Veesaar ups his outside shooting going into next season, right? But I do want to shout out everybody here in the chat. We have a pop in chat right now. Make sure you guys leave a like. Erica just dropped in here, which means that the show just started. Show doesn't start until Erica Day gets here. Everyone knows that. But we got Nick in here helping me out, telling me to fix that hat. Didn't even see that comment until I fixed my hat, and then it made me smile. But big crack in the back here, of course. Sam Alberts, Kobe, all the lads. Jay, Icy Mike. Shout out everybody, all the lads and ladies. Appreciate everybody for being here. Drop a like on this video. Couldn't do it without you guys. But yeah, Kevin, I guess where's kind of your confidence meter right now on Henri Veesaar? I mean, I feel like we were kind of in a really low spot. Like I'd say on a scale of like 1 to 10, I feel like I was at like a 0 that he would come back based off of the do not contact, based off of the program that North Carolina is. Can I get a temperature check right now? Scale of 1 to 10, like confidence that Henri Veesaar could potentially come back next season.
Well, let me check any rumors real quick before I answer this question, Damon. No, I'm kidding, because that's how quick this stuff changes, right?
Yeah.
Like I am going to answer this question, but it is one of those things that like we could answer and finish this segment, and then Henri Veesaar could make a decision which way or the other.
Yeah.
After I make this,
there
statement.
Could be a Tipton Edits post about Henri Veesaar going to North Carolina.
Yeah, or just a report that he comes back. Either way, like it could happen at any moment. Same thing with Carter Bryant. All this, right? But I think my confidence level out of 10. Like you, when the news dropped, I think I was at about a 2. Before I found out about the DNC, before I found out about UNC, I was like, okay, he's testing the market, but this is not good, right? So I was at about a 2. Once the DNC came out, once it looked like it was UNC for sure, I dropped down to a 1. Never a 0. Never a 0. I didn't think he was coming back necessarily at all, but I don't know. I just didn't like the North Carolina fit. It didn't make sense from a basketball perspective. And I know it's a money thing, likely. But there's no way that he can't make good money playing for Arizona. You know what I mean? And competing for, he seems like a competitive guy. So if you can make great money and win no relevant basketball games, or make good money and compete for potentially a national title next season, I think like some people would really have to weigh that. And I feel like Henri Veesaar is one of those. And once,
well, it's about development. We talked about this yesterday, Kevin, where it's like, how important is, getting $3 million, making up numbers, but you get $3 million from North Carolina, right? And you start next season and you're a second round pick, or you make, $1 million at Arizona and you're a first round pick and you get a guaranteed NBA contract for 4 or 5 seasons because you played under Tommy Lloyd and let him develop you, the big man whisperer, if you will. So that's where it's like you have to weigh your long-term versus your short-term in that situation. Look at a guy like Caleb Love. No chance Caleb Love is pushing NBA boards if he goes to Michigan.
Or if he stayed at UNC.
But guess what? He comes to Arizona. He plays under Tommy Lloyd. He develops his game. And now people are like, why wouldn't you take Caleb Love? This guy is totally an NBA player, right? So this is I feel like you just have to value Tommy Lloyd and what he can do for you. I think it's a little bit of I know we're in our Arizona box, right? And we see it through our own lens, but also like we're talking about Hubert Davis, who has been underwhelming every regular season that he's been at North Carolina and had a dream Final Four run led by, Caleb Love's heroics, right? So, which we've seen before as well. So it's like, North Carolina isn't a program that's like trending up. They're not a program that's on the rise. I know they're an all-time program and it always means something to play for them, but it's just not I don't know that it's what I would consider a better situation for a Henri Veesaar, right? I think that, you could very easily make the argument that the long-term play for him is to come back to Arizona.
I do agree with you, Damon. And I think when talking about my confidence level as well, like just to give you a solid number on that, right now, I think I'm at about like a 3 that I feel like Henri Veesaar could return, which is a lot better than a 1 or a 0, which is kind of where I was at before today when I woke up, Damon. And I think I think you're right. Like again, we talked about the fit with Braden Burries for Arizona versus some of his suitors, and how some of the other fits just don't make a whole lot of sense. And if you're looking at it
Yeah.
from a where can I be the best version of me, how can I maximize my potential, make myself look the best? It's partially about fit as well, right, Damon? So I feel like if you're Henri Veesaar, if you're Braden Burries, and you're looking around and trying to think where is the best fit for me to look great and also compete and play in serious, relevant basketball games, Damon, I feel like you gotta come back to Arizona, like for Henri Veesaar, if that's what your motives are. Like if making good money and playing in great games is your get down, come back to Arizona. And there's no shame in this other option. I'm not trying to frame it up like that. But if your get down is I want to make great money and just play for a huge program and be the guy and feel awesome, then that's your get down, and you're probably going to end up at UNC. But I think there's no way around it. Arizona is the drastically better basketball situation. And also Dan Thomas puts it here, the ACC is weak. So that kind of goes both ways, right? Henri Veesaar could likely do great in a weaker conference as well. But also you're not getting as good of competition against you to really test you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that matters way more is the development over the course of a Big 12 season, right? We saw that with this team. They weren't the finished product at the beginning versus the end, but they were a really good team because they got battle tested by a very, very tough conference. I do want to shout out Chase. Chase is here. He's a North Carolina fan. He's Jon Snowing it here in our chat. With the horses running at him, and I do appreciate the extra or the added other side analysis, right?
Yes.
But I will say, like, yeah, we know Caleb Love was pushed out of UNC. Would you consider that a good decision? I would consider it a horrific decision based off of how things have played out for UNC over the last couple of years and versus Caleb Love, right? But all glory and power to Hubert Davis, I guess. Like, I agree with you that he was in fact pushed out. I just don't agree that was a sound decision because I think it's proven that it wasn't. And I think it also proves, like, Caleb Love, like, how many improvements to his game did he have from Hubert Davis to Tommy Lloyd, Kevin? Like, he
became a complete guard.
Player.
He became a complete guard is what I was trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think someone else said it in the chat, and you mentioned it, you've alluded to it, that Hubert Davis, like, players get better when they leave Hubert Davis's system. And I think, like, when Caleb Love transferred here, I was telling people, like, part of what excited me most about it is Tommy Lloyd putting Caleb Love in, like, a real basketball system.
Yeah.
That maximizes his talents as opposed to, and I know there's more to it than this, I'm just simplifying it, just for my point here. But, like, Hubert Davis's system, when you watch it, is kind of just like, I have talent, let's roll the ball out and let the talent be talent. And, like, that doesn't help anybody get better at the game, right? It just helps people get better at ISO ball and, like, looking great on national television, but then you get eliminated early from March Madness. Like, I just don't think that the way Hubert Davis coaches is a good vehicle for developing players at a high level.
Yeah, I'm certainly with you on that one. We'll keep you updated regarding Henri Veesaar. And just anything that comes out in his situation. I mean, I think it's still very much up in the air. Chase says he came back to Arizona to pack his things. Could be. Very well could be, right?
He would technically have to do that, yeah.
I think typically you would see him commit at the North Carolina visit is the only thing that is questionable in that regard. But absolutely could be that. I mean, it would be a big move for North Carolina, and a big move for the career of Henri Veesaar, like the domino effect of that. But we will watch this front court play out. Kevin, another front court player Arizona has on its roster currently that could in fact maybe not be on the roster is Carter Bryant, and we're going to talk about his draft status, where he's going in mock drafts, and just kind of the feeling right now about Carter Bryant. Right after this break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Damon, one thing about Henri Veesaar, no matter where he goes, he's not going to be playing on a floor as good as Empire Flooring, Damon, dog. We have it here in our beautiful studio, the GOAT studio, Dana Taurasi studio here. But yeah, Empire today, it's the best place to go for all of your flooring needs. And with code PHNX, you can get $350 off of your new floors. And like I said, if you want a strong foundation for every day walking around your home, there's no way that you can have that without beautiful flooring. So why is Empire Today the best new flooring for you? It lives and breathes flooring. They're committed to this game. Their flooring experts bring their showroom right to your home, pick the right flooring, and choose the right colors for your space. See how it looks for your furniture in your house, as well as that like little visualizer that they have on there as well. Empire Today, you can schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. You don't even got to leave your house for this one. They come to you. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yeah, you heard me right. A $350 discount. That is quite a lot of money these days, folks. Discount code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/PHNX for full details.
Love our friends at Empire Today. Gonna hit them up if you need any new floors. If I need a new vehicle, Kevin, I know exactly where to go. It's Sanderson Ford. It is the largest Ford dealership in the United States, and that's a big deal because Sanderson Ford and Ford in general is such a staple of this country, right? When it comes to making vehicles, having the largest Ford dealership in the U.S. is, I mean, that means everything. Another thing that means everything is our PHNX golf tournament that we have coming up on April 12th. Our friends at Sanderson Ford are sponsoring a hole, Kevin. And if you hit a hole-in-one on that par 3 hole, they're going to give you a free 2-year prepaid lease on a new Ford F-150 Super Crew.
That's unbelievable.
It is an unbelievable deal. 2-year lease on that Ford F-150 if you get that hole-in-one. So sign up for our golf tournament. Go check on our website at gophnx.com/events. But also Sanderson Ford. Let's get back to talking about our friends over there. 65-acre facility. Including the Starliner Diner, one of my favorite places I've eaten up here in the Valley. Just a kind of a jump back in time, Kevin, in prices and in aura. Unbelievable, the Starliner Diner. But it really was. But Sanderson Ford, they're a family-owned and operated business. They love supporting local. They love being a part of this community. That's why they sponsor with us, and we love our friends at Sanderson Ford. Shop there for a no-hassle, no pressure, and no-nonsense sales approach that they've become known for in the Valley. Sanderson Ford. All right, Kevin, let's talk a little bit of Carter Bryant. So
it's Bryant ball.
Yes, Carter Bryant ball. Carter Bryant, I think the ideal world, at least for me, and I'll lay this out for everybody. I think that you'll agree with me, Kevin. I don't know what the chat will think. But I think in an ideal scenario, Arizona has a lineup of Jaden Bradley, Braden Burries, Carter Bryant,
Koa
Peat, and Henri Veesaar / Tobe Awaka.
Agree.
That's my ideal starting lineup for this team next year. I don't know how realistic it is. We're going to find that out as rumors and more concrete information comes out in the next couple weeks here. But Carter Bryant, I expect him probably to test the draft waters, Kevin. I expect
he'd be silly not to.
He would be. I expect him to enter the draft, combine and perform in all of those events, see his status, and potentially make a decision after that, like Caleb Love did last season. But a little bit different than Caleb Love. Carter Bryant will have suitors. It's not a situation of whether or not he'll be undrafted versus a second-round pick. It's whether he's going to be a first-round pick versus a second-round pick, which is a big deal. I would imagine Carter Bryant would definitely find himself in that back end of the first round just based off of his talent, Kevin. But we do have some mock drafts that you've laid out for us that, just kind of give us a sense of where, some of the bigger outlets have Carter Bryant in mock drafts right now. So why don't you take it away and give us a little temperature check on our guy Carter?
Yeah, so first off, I think we should start. I'm going to go from highest to lowest projections here. I think I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is great podcasting. I think I have like 8 different projections I saw. Your mileage may vary on whether, how credible you feel like some of these are. We all have our favorite publications and things like that.
Yeah.
Just a quick little preface there. Bleacher Report /NBA.com, because I think they do like a crossover thing over there, has Carter Bryant in the 15 spot right here to the Orlando Magic. They actually, I thought this was interesting, Damon, gave him a pro comparison of Marcus Morris. I don't even know how to feel about that, but Carter Bryant projected 15th to the Orlando Magic by Bleacher Report. And I think this is a very important thing to keep track of when we're talking about this segment, Damon, what his pay scale would be, because that's what you're competing against if you're Arizona, right? So what would Carter Bryant be paid at the 15th overall pick? He'd be paid $3.879 million if he went 15th overall. And then number 18 is what he was projected by Sports Illustrated to the Timberwolves, Damon Dog. And the comparisons here, Jeff Green and Trevor Ariza, attributes off-ball mover. I kind of thought that was interesting that he didn't have more attributes here, and that off-ball mover was the one that they picked out, not like athleticism and length or whatever. But yeah, this is where Sports Illustrated has Carter Bryant going.
For comps, we have Marcus Morris, Jeff Green, and Trevor Ariza. Just like a who's who of NBA wing role players that jump from contender to contender
Correct.
every offseason.
No, yeah. It's the
next
it's the
we're
who's
gonna have
who
Wesley
of the...
Matthews and
Nick Batum.
Yeah, Nick Batum. Yeah, literally just a bunch of dudes like that, right?
Yeah, no, literally just a bunch of dudes. Just gather all the wings and just throw.
I understand what they're saying based off of what we saw from Carter Bryant this season, but
agree.
I do think that the ceiling of a Carter Bryant is significantly higher than those players. But continue, Kevin.
I agree. And also the pay for the 18th overall pick would be $3.326 million. And then ESPN Plus has him number 20 on their big board, so not like a concrete mock, but that's about where he stands talent-wise to ESPN. So I thought that was interesting because now you're falling out of that top. Like now you're falling out of the top 20 at this point. $3 million still would be the salary there. NBA players make great money, man. They
the best. People, if for some reason it's still like a thought that like MLB player, like you got to be a baseball player. Hell,
if you're not
no.
the best baseball, if you're not one of the top, what do you say, Damon? 100 guys,
yeah,
like 150 maybe, if you want to stretch it out. Like you're not really making as much as you think.
No, but
if you're going like 35th overall in the NBA draft, you're 1.5 mil a year, I think.
Dude, like let me look at this real quick. I mean, this is not our sport at all, but I just need to Corbin Carroll signed an 8-year, $111 million extension while he was, still had not played a full season of Major League Baseball yet, and I think he's Corbin Carroll is one of the 20 best players and hitters in baseball. He's going to be paid $5 million this year, Kevin.
Carter Bryant's going to be in the same tax bracket as Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, but it's not going to be until 2031 when Corbin Carroll is off of his contract that he then gets to sign one of those mega deals. I mean, he will be making like $20 million towards the back end of that deal, but it's like I just think you have to wait. You have to get through the early portions of your career where you would have maybe been in arbitration and whatnot to actually get paid what you deserve, right? And meanwhile, in the NBA, once you're done with your first contract, you can then sign with the way max deals work with 4 or 5 years on each contract. You can sign hypothetically, if you're like an all-time great, 3 5-year contracts that are all, max deals and basically be a billionaire at the end of your career. If you're the 8th man on a team, you're making $18 million a year. The NBA is wild, dude. In NFL,
Jaylen Brown is going to end up damn near being a billionaire by the time he's done.
Yeah, 100%.
And I love JB. I love JB.
But that's crazy.
But he is not $500,000. He's not a $500 million man.
No.
Bradley Beal is a $500 million man.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Courtesy
PTO
of the Washington
Beal.
Wizards.
PTO Bradley Beal is making almost $500 million. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's just NBA players just make different money because when you really think about it, I'd have to find you the numbers exactly, but the NFL and the NBA, both of their caps are in the mid to low 200 million range. The NFL has 53 players on a roster. The NBA has 15. That's pretty. I think that's
not a lot of punters to pay in the NBA.
and that's why people get paid so much money. So that's why it makes this conversation even more difficult, I'd argue. So, yeah. But continue, Kevin.
And I did want to answer Milo's question here in the chat. Would he go higher if he waited a year? I mean, you can't be certain. Anything could happen. You know what I mean? But there's no reason as to why. I'll say this. There's no reason as to why if Carter Bryant stays a year, starts next season next to Koa Peat, Jaden Bradley, I don't give a damn who the centers are.
Yeah.
He's going to look awesome. Mm-hmm. And he's only going to be one more year stronger, one more year more wise. And I think he's going to lock himself top 15 for sure, maybe even top 10. Yeah, depending upon some of the other talent, maybe overseas guys in that next year's draft class. He's certain to go higher next year if he comes back.
I think we're looking at 3 first-round picks next year if Carter Bryant comes back, and Koa Peat, Braden Burries potentially if he does make the move to Arizona and Carter Bryant as well. So Milos, I think that or Milo maybe. I think that he would go higher if in fact he was coming back for another season. But yeah, I mean you genuinely have no idea. I'll ask you this, Kevin. Who was the last Tommy Lloyd player at Arizona since he took over that has hurt their draft stock by playing under Tommy Lloyd? In the 4 seasons he's been the head coach at Arizona now.
I can only think of one, and it's not Tommy Lloyd's fault, and that's Kylan Boswell.
Yep.
And because I think Kylan Boswell profiles as a player that if he has a really superstar hot kind of year or tournament, for example, he could eke into that second round. I think he really could because of his versatility as a player. But I think he kind of ruined that dream here at Arizona, at least. But yeah, I think he's the only guy, and it's not even Tommy's fault.
It was a mentality issue with Kylan Boswell.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could argue that is Tommy's fault for bringing in a guy who's maybe not like rock solid and kind of focused on the task at hand. But
you don't always know.
You don't always know. It's a wild card, and you know, hopefully Kylan has figured it out at Illinois a little bit more.
It seems like he has, from the outside looking in.
I wouldn't be able to speak on it. Hopefully. But that being said, I do think that like you look at every guy across the board. Ben Matherin, Christian Coloco, Azulis Tabelis, Kashad Johnson, Pella Larson.
Zeke Naji, throw him in there.
He didn't play for Tommy Lloyd.
Oh, you're right, dude. Damn, that was really wishful thinking. That was my freshman year. I'm an old man now.
Yeah, that's Sean Miller.
Yeah, it was. But it was like last year, yeah.
Yeah. Sean Miller, now, Nico Mannion, Josh Green. Bring him down, right? But Tommy Lloyd, I feel like every single guy that has, you know, NBA draft pick aspirations improves their stock under Tommy Lloyd. And you know, you look at it like Pella Larson was probably not considered to be a draft worthy player before he transferred to Arizona. All of a sudden he's, you know, now he's, you know, getting consistent minutes for the Miami Heat on a nightly basis. Like these guys are helped by Tommy Lloyd. And I think Carter Bryant is smart enough to see that. That's why he committed to Arizona and was cool coming off the bench, Kevin. And it's hopefully why he's going to come back for another season. Seeing all of that, seeing that improvement that Tommy brings out of people. And, you know, Carter's not a finished product at all. Like he's got all the athleticism, all the length, all the shooting touch, right? But what he needs to do is, I think he, you know, catch up with the more mental side of the game. I think we saw that happening over the course of the year, and he definitely got better as that went on, no doubt. Not complete product. He's 19, like you wouldn't expect it to be, but he needs to improve his ability to score off the dribble, mostly, I think. And that's way harder to do in the NBA than it will be in college. Like, I didn't see Carter put the ball on the floor too much and you know, put the ball in the hoop, right? It was a lot of catch and shoots, a lot of, like, drives to the basket. But I think you want to see him develop that portion of his game more before, you know, he's a very high lottery pick in the NBA. But I definitely think it's doable if he comes back for a sophomore season.
If he can put together creating his own shot off the dribble, like you were alluding to, he's for sure a top 10 pick next season.
Yeah.
With everything he can do defensively, his frame is unbelievable. If you can add some, icy Mike. If you can add some muscle to it, Carter Bryant's frame is unbelievable.
He does have a Tatum-like frame.
He kind of does. Yeah. But yeah, Damon. I think Carter Bryant I said it earlier this season. Like he's big paws on a puppy. Like you get a puppy from the shelter, and you're like, oh, it's how big is it gonna grow? And they're like, I don't know. And you look at their paws, and they're freaking huge, and you're like, oh, that's about to be a big dog in only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And Carter Bryant is that, right? Tommy Lloyd brought him in, looking at his game, like, oh, I mean, what is his ceiling? I don't even know. Like, you don't even know what Carter Bryant's ceiling is. I'm not saying he's, you know, NBA MVP kind of guy, like, but I am saying like Carter Bryant, at least
be
at
Trevor
college,
Ariza, could be an all-star.
He could be Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, at least at college level is my point. Like Carter Bryant, if he comes back next year and puts some of the dribbling stuff together, put some of the handling stuff together, just shot creation as a whole, God forbid he links up with that guy Lethal Shooter. Last thing the Big 12 needs is Carter Bryant looking somebody dead in the eye and going, I understand it now, and then just nailing a half-court three. But I say that in jest.
Is Lethal Shooter is the guy who has like the spikes on the hoop?
Oh yeah. Lethal Shooter's the guy that like has the spikes on the hoop. He's like shooting it from half court, making it.
Yeah.
He'll miss the first one, the ball will get spiked, and he'll just go, I understand it now, and he'll make the second one. This is a guy that like actually live streams his stuff. He made like 86 threes in a row on a live stream one time before he got nervous and choked. But yeah. I said all that as kind of a half joke, but in seriousness, if Carter Bryant can get in the lab, like even smooth out that shot even further, create more off the dribble, he could really make himself a lot more money next season, and also possibly raise the ceiling of Arizona to a true contender. Because I think with the loss of Caleb Love to the draft or to wherever Caleb Love's next stop is basketball wise, you do need that top end scorer to make it far in the tournament, in my opinion. Even if they're not doing it every night, you need someone who can do it when you need it. And so I'm interested to see who steps up for Arizona in that role next year. It could be Carter Bryant if he puts some of the ball handling stuff together. And we do have some more mock draft stuff to talk here real quick. Hoop Intellect is a YouTube channel that I follow. He has been doing draft analysis stuff for years now. He is incredibly locked in, very reliable scouting source for, just like overall player evaluation, I would say. But I say that to say, like, take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, like, he's not employed by any franchise or anything like that. But he has Carter Bryant at 20 as well, just like ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
CBS and Damon, this hurts, Damon. This hurts my soul. This CBS mock draft right here. That if you look real close there, the number 21 overall pick, CBS has Carter Bryant going to the Miami Heat. And Damon, that makes me sick to my stomach because I'm a Boston Celtics fan. But also, it makes me sick to my stomach as an Arizona fan because how perfect is Carter Bryant for the Heat? Reunite him with Pella and Kashad?
As an Arizona fan, that should make you happy.
No, but it scares me because the fit is so perfect.
The Miami Wildcats.
But I'm saying the fit is so perfect that I want him to stay with the Arizona Wildcats and not become the Miami Wildcats. You know what I mean? Like, yes, if that happened, we would end up being happy for Carter Bryant and Pella and all the Miami Cats.
Yeah.
But we also would be I don't want him to be robbed of us, especially to my rival, Damon. I don't want it.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I would love the pick, obviously, just like I loved Pelle Larsson and Keshad Johnson joining last season. But yeah, I mean, I certainly would. I'm more hopeful that he returns for a second season here. I have a mock draft, or not a mock draft, but a big board here. Sam Vecini from The Athletic, who's one of the better NBA draft guys out there. He has Carter Bryant at 19, Kevin. So it seems like kind of that 20 range is exactly where they think Carter Bryant, right outside the lottery. I mean, when you're 19th prospect, you easily could go 14th, which is lottery. Like, that's not a stretch if a team likes you. But yeah, I think we're looking at him as kind of solidly in that middle part of the first round there.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's a somewhat fair spot for him. You can get nitpicky with some of the players above him. Like when you're looking at some of these mock drafts, I think, and again, you said it earlier, I think it's a good place to start. Like, we are in our Arizona bubble. Like, we have watched a lot of Carter Bryant this year.
Yeah.
We have not watched every game of
all these other players.
Noah Asenge from the Israeli team, who's a Frenchman. Like, I haven't watched all of his tape, but like, I think that there is something to the idea that when you're looking at like at least three of the guys that are mocked above Carter Bryant, as I don't think they're better than Carter Bryant.
You didn't watch a lot of Colin Murray Boyle's ball from South Carolina, the worst team in the SEC.
I will say, apparently he's awesome.
I'm sure he's great.
People love him.
But who's watching bad SEC basketball if your team's not in that conference, right?
Yeah, I was not watching a lot of South
They
Carolina.
were like 0-14 in conference at one point.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll mention Yahoo Sports had him as number 25 with a $2.8 million salary. NBA Draft.net had him at number 27 on their big board. Tankathon, which is another site I found that does a lot of NBA draft stuff, had him, and again, this had me check their credibility because I'm not so sure, had him at 37 to the Pistons.
Yeah, I think Tankathon is one of those sites, the more I think about it, where it's like it's there for kind of getting fans hyped up and stuff. It's not really there for like actual ball analysis. So like it's there so you can press the button for the lottery balls a million times until the Miami Heat get the number 1 overall pick, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm on Tankathon for.
No, you're right.
I would take that one with a little bit more grain of salt.
Definitely. That's why I led into it with like after I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm throwing this in there almost as like can you believe that they put him at 37? How ridiculous is that?
Feels like a lot more of a not updated list. Like, that was what they saw as the consensus a while ago, and that's where they had it at. I want to respond to Bobby here. Says MLB is by far the best because they have guaranteed contracts. I don't think the NBA is the same. NBA is the same. You do have guaranteed contracts unless it's like, genuinely put in the contract otherwise that they have a buyout option in like the last year of the contract. Baseball is the exact same way in that regard. So from a guaranteed perspective, the NBA is also guaranteed, and it's also a lot more of money unless you're Shohei Ohtani, who he's getting paid $2 million this season. So
It's a lot more money and half the games.
yes,
That is also a key part of this. Is like your game check is double whatever it would be in the MLB because there's half the games. You have to commit like I don't know how many less months to the NBA season than you do the MLB season, which pretty much is like a 2-month off season for the players. NBA guys just get to go to the south of France, go to fashion shows.
Yep.
James Harden be wherever the hell he wants in the off season. So yeah,
The party tour.
I'm still taking NBA. Did you see James Harden got Kawhi Leonard to go out to the club the other night? He might be the club GOAT.
Kawhi's gone to clubs before though.
But how old is Kawhi now? You think Kawhi is still going? Like you think Kawhi? Like
To be fair, it was when he won a championship.
yeah, like I don't think Kawhi's going out that often. I don't know. That's neither here nor there.
He's a fun guy. Didn't he say that one time?
Yeah, I'm just a fun guy or something like that. Yeah,
I'm a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy.
Yeah.
You know the Apple story?
No.
I'll keep this somewhat quick because I don't want to butcher it. But the Spurs went out to a dinner one time, and Popovich is known for taking his teams out to very like nice, extravagant dinners with like wine connoisseurs. That like what's the word? The wine person that like tells you exactly what matches up with it ends with like a something EA. I don't know. Sommelier, yes. There you go. We teamwork there. Yeah, teamwork. But yeah, they had a very nice dinner with some sommeliers, and I'm sure they had the little towels over their forearms and all that. And they're like they're giving their orders down the table, and Pop gets to Kawhi, and he's like, Kawhi, what are you gonna get? And he goes, oh no, I'm okay. I got my bag of apples. And he pulls out a bag of apples onto the table and just starts eating apples. Kawhi Leonard, the
like
robot.
a horse.
Yeah, Kawhi.
Had a bale of hay too, and you know what I mean, like a carrot, nice carrot. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy story. Especially at a nice dinner. But yeah, kind of wrapping up this Carter Bryant conversation, Kevin. It feels like he's kind of in that mid first round range. I don't know if that speaks very well to Arizona's ability to get him back. It does feel like Carter, if he was like truly like so gung ho about going to the league, he would have announced and declared already, right?
Correct.
So it seems like he's kind of
there is a decision to be made.
His options a little bit right now. I mean, that's not from speaking from a place of knowledge. That's just from a place of speculation. But I'm of the opinion that he's torn. I'm of the opinion that he is going to enter the draft process and see what that has in store for him. And ultimately, I think that it's safe to assume, as Arizona fans, that he will not be on next year's team just because he is a first-round pick. And I feel like Arizona doesn't typically get guys that are on the kind of the border of like, should I come back? Should I go? Those guys don't typically ever come back. Like I can run through names off the top of my head, like Nick Johnson, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, like, even like Chance Comanche, or Kobe Simmons or, Raleigh Alkins. Like these are guys that all had extra years of eligibility and they all left, even if they weren't considered to be first round picks.
Cody Williams.
Yeah. But
he was considered to be a lottery, but I'm saying like my buddy texted me the other day, shout out to Josh. He was like, if Cody Williams can be a lottery pick, Carter Bryant should go number one.
Cody Williams is number one overall recruit in his class, which is nuts because he didn't belong anywhere near that. He played on the same high school team as Koa Peat. Maybe that helped a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I think as Arizona fans, we need to sit back and be like, yeah, let's assume Carter's gone. Let's prepare as if he's gone, and let's be just juiced up if he's back, right? Like that would be electric. The only problem that has is you have to wait throughout this entire process, Kevin. There's players in the transfer portal right now that you would like to potentially replace Carter Bryant at that 3 position. And I know Tommy Lloyd likes to play it this way. We talked about it yesterday, but I think when he gets an idea of what his ideal situation is in his head, he goes full gung-ho at that.
And then you figure it out later.
And leaves options open for later, right? Like a Braden Burries. Like Arizona's not going to recruit over a Braden Burries. I feel like the other schools involved in this, like a Tennessee or an Oregon, they're all going to recruit over Braden Burries.
USC already did it 3 times.
Yeah, they did. And because those teams, those schools, they want fallback options and to not be like, out of luck, SOL, when they're, when a guy decides to go elsewhere. But I think Tommy Lloyd, his approach is, we're going to give them no reasons to take us lower in their stock of their mind, right? Like I want to tell Braden Burries that he has a designated starting role for next season, right? And then I want to hold on to that starting role until he makes his announcement so that is still true and that rings true, whereas other teams might be hurting their recruitment of him to an extent. So I think Arizona is going to hope Carter Bryant comes back until the bitter end, Kevin, and hopefully it doesn't kind of screw this team over in the process. We'll see.
I agree with you. And before we move on to our next topic, which I think is going to be buy or sell, Damon Dog.
I wonder what Chance Comanche is up to these days. You do not. Sam's right. You do not want to know. Don't look it up.
Yeah, keep your Google safe with that one. But what I was going to say was, can I sell you a dream before we go to buy or sell?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to sell you a quick dream. Arizona just had one of its most memorable sporting moments of all time when Noah Fafita and T-Mac announced at the basketball game that they were going to return. They have unfinished business. And all right, that didn't work out so hot. Okay, that's fine. But the moment lives forever. And those guys are legends forever, Dave.
That's my natty.
They're legends in Tucson for life because of that one singular decision that they made. Carter Bryant will forever be remembered as an Arizona Wildcat already for his contributions to the program. But Carter Bryant feels like, and again, I'm not speaking from any place of knowledge on this. This is speculation based off of what we've seen from him this season. Carter Bryant feels like a guy who cares about moments, guy who cares about opportunities to create moments. And I think coming back next season with Braden Burries and Koa Peat, who he clearly is highly supportive of, both of those guys, friends with, but also publicly supportive of them as well. I wonder if he would want to pass up maybe the one opportunity that they'll have to play together at a high level ever, right? And maybe, if you're selling yourself that dream of Carter Bryant getting his first ever basketball championship, who else would he rather do it with than his buddies Braden Burries and Koa Peat?
Yeah.
And Jaden Bradley, who he went to war with last season. Tobe Awaka, who he went to war with last year. Like, I think, and I hope the cope that coming out of my mouth right now is that I think Carter Bryant might be the kind of guy to like really relish that opportunity to get paid a good amount of money to play with some of his best friends from the basketball world and chase a championship and do something that you don't see it. You see it often, right? But I think less and less because of the transfer portal and older players being more relevant in the Final Four and things like that. You don't often see a group of like three freshmen or multiple freshmen that are friends. When I mean come up and really compete on a high level. So I think that'd be a fun dream to start selling people, Damon. And I think I'm going to try to manifest that on my own.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, Kevin. I really do hope you're right. Icy Mike put Dalen Terry on the list as well, 100%. Like, that's another guy where it's like, come on, man, one more year. Like, you'll be a lottery pick.
Great if he stayed one more year.
Yeah. And that's another guy, too, where it's like, look at what Tommy Lloyd did for Dalen Terry, man. Like, Dalen Terry was kind of a borderline 5-star, high 4-star guy under Sean Miller, was thought to be a multi-year player, and Tommy Lloyd immediately made him into a mid-first round pick. I think that's kind of the similar kind of trajectory that I think Carter Bryant was on this year. I hope he comes back for another season and can just boost that stock higher. But yeah, Kevin, I think I'm gonna. It seems like you're maybe a little bit more wishful. Maybe you're a little bit. You still have that twinkle in your eye a little bit.
Hope is what gets us all up in the morning, Damon. Without hope, we don't get up in the morning.
Yeah. I think maybe I've been a little bit more emotionally scarred than you have because some of those earlier names that I was naming in like the 2013-14 range is a bit before your time. So it's like you don't remember the pain of Rondé Hollis Jefferson leaving and being like, he was supposed to be the man on next year's roster. But yeah, I certainly hope that you are the one that's correct and I'm the one that's wrong here. I don't have great feelings about it. All right. So let's talk. We're going to talk a little bit more about Tetairoa McMillan. Just kind of some of the discourse that's going surrounding T-Mac right now. And we're also going to buy and sell with our friends at Carol Roy's team. We're going to hit that right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
Well, Damon, if you have a golf swing on you, if you guys love golf, make sure to pop out to our Dobson Ranch, Green Jacket Open scramble with a shotgun 2 p.m. start. You can get a limited edition PHNX gift pack as well. All of us will be out there throughout the day, so you can come heckle us at your desires. April 12th, Green Jacket Open scramble. Bring a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. phnx.com/events. Damon Dog will be there. Will you be playing, Damon?
No, I won't be playing. I don't play golf because I stink at it, but it will be electric vibes. I love golf vibes. I'll be out there. I'll be riding in my cart. You guys will see me out there, and it's going to be an electric time. All of our golf tournaments, I think we've done 2 or 3 now, have been electric. You get fed. There's prizes. There's different, booths on every hole when it comes to like special offers and whatnot. Different companies that are at each hole. Just an electric time. You're going to want to sign up for that, guy. Get yourself a foursome. I think we can also pair you up with people if you need that. But go to gophnx.com/events for more details on that. And shout out our friends at Carol Royce Team, Kevin. We're going to buy or sell with our friends at Carol Royce. Just go over some of the more pressing questions that are going on in the world of Arizona athletics. So, shout out Carol Royce Team. And let's go ahead and get into that, huh?
Let's do it. Let's buy or sell, Damon Dog. We're buying or selling. Buy or sell, or buy or sell, or buy. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Well, now you do. Buy or sell, number 1. T-Mac's draft narratives have been superfluous.
Kevin had to explain what superfluous meant to me.
It just means, unnecessarily extra. There's too much of this thing to an unnecessary amount. And that is how I feel about T-Mac's draft narratives. People are overthinking it. There's too much being discussed about it. And that happens every year. And every year we talk about how draft analysts are overthinking things. And this is just, we're at that part of the year again, folks, where people see a talented player and they just have to find and poke holes. And I don't blame them, though, because their jobs are on the line damn near every year, especially in that top 10. So, Damon, we are both buying. The T-Mac's draft narratives have been superfluous. Yes. Why are you buying?
Because it's absurd. I think, and maybe this is from us living in our Arizona bubble, but I genuinely believe that this year the public enemy number 1, if you will, of the draft process has been T-Mac. From where he was considered at the beginning to where people are viewing him now. And comparing first round prospects. Like I think that we've seen somewhat of a teardown of Tetairoa McMillan more than I've seen of any maybe non-quarterback prospect in recent years, Kevin. Like there was a lot of similar narratives, I think, surrounding Marvin Harrison Jr. last year about like, well, he can't run, he doesn't have the long speed and blah, 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 right? But with T-Mac, like it's been even more prominent for some reason. And people feel really comfortable being like he's not this special talented receiver that he has been considered for majority of his playing career thus far. So I think it's extremely superfluous, Kevin, now that I know what that word means. And it's honestly pretty shocking. Just this is a guy. I hear some things about T-Mac where I'm just like, you're just so wrong. Like, and it's insane. Like the idea that he's this big, slow oaf receiver is insane. He's 6'5". He ran in the mid 4.5s or like into the 4. At first it was 4.48. It became like 4.55. Kevin, 4.55 for a 6'5" receiver is fast. Like, I don't know who needs to hear that, but comparing Malik Neighbors and Isaiah Bond and guys that are like 5'9" to a guy that is 8 inches taller than them, who runs a 1/10 of a second slower in the 40,
can jump just as high.
But when you jump just as high and you're 8 inches taller, I'm pretty sure you can get a lot higher off the ground, Kevin.
Exactly.
Like this is he. The idea that he's slow is insane. The idea that he can't run a full route tree is insane because we saw him run a full route tree throughout his 3 years at Arizona. The idea that he doesn't have leaping ability is insane. Like, and not to mention, just outside of all of that, Kevin, he has the best hands in this draft, and it's not even close. It's not even close. The guy has a catch radius that is up there with the elites in the NFL already. Hasn't played a snap, and he catches everything with his hands, not with his body. Like a lot you see with a lot of these big receivers, he catches it with his hands every single time. He has elite hands, elite size, good speed, good route running ability, great vertical ability. Like, and on top of that, he's a great dude. He's a great person. So it's like, I just don't understand this idea that it's like he went from, bona fide number one receiver to now Daniel Jeremiah drops him yesterday in his top 50 rankings to his wide receiver 4, Kevin.
That's absurd. 4 is absurd overthinking.
His 4th ranked wide receiver, and Daniel Jeremiah is the biggest draft analyst that we have out there. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And you know what? Why don't we just get into this conversation real quick, and we'll continue with our buy or sell, Kevin. But we have some stuff on T-Mac that I believe, some elements here that you had ready for the show.
Yes, indeed. We do have some more mock drafts here as well. This is from NFL.com. Right here has him number 5 to the Jaguars, which is about...
Do you know who did this at NFL.com?
I do not. I do not know who put that together at NFL.com, if you did want to find that. But,
yeah, I'll grab it.
And we also have CBS, Sports Illustrated, and The Ringer as well coming up. But yeah, number 5 to the Jaguars from NFL.com, Damon. I mean, this is more the range that you expect to see T-Mac in, right? Like the best player at one of the premier positions, like you would expect him to go about yay high, right? I don't think that one is really catching us off guard. Now CBS, yikes.
I mean, I think that this is around the range where you expect T-Mac. CBS Sports has T-Mac going number 12 here to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm sure what's his name, Jay here in the chat, who's a Niners fan, is probably sick to his stomach seeing this, that Cowboys drafting T-Mac 1 spot after the Niners.
So is Sam. Sam Albert said, I just pray he doesn't slip and go to the Cowboys. And
Sam, I gotta level with you, my guy. I think that's the situation we're trending in right now. Brian Schottenheimer the other day mentioned something about wanting to build the team from the outside in, which is a kind of a weird way of considering NFL football, because it's typically the other way around. But he mentioned that they need to get better at the wide receiver and cornerback positions. And to me, it does feel like T-Mac is trending towards a Cowboy. I do have the maker of that mock to the Jags, and it is somewhat interesting, actually. It's Maurice Jones-Drew, who is a former Jaguar.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So, I don't think he would be, and I'm not saying that he's obviously not the top draft analyst. I feel like he wouldn't be giving his team that he played for his entire career a player that he did not think was worthy of that pick,
yeah.
right?
No, yeah.
So, that's a guy who at least watches T-Mac play and says that's a top 5 pick in the NFL. And that's where we were all season long with T-Mac, all off season with T-Mac. And it's like, why did this all go out the door? We went from Arizona football had one of the worst offenses I've ever seen line up at a Power 5 college football level last season. And T-Mac was the only shining bright spot of it. He still had over 1,000 yards, being the sole focus of the offense, and made some insane plays, right? So, yeah, the discourse is ridiculous, Kevin. It needs to be stopped. Yeah, I really just don't know what else to say. In my opinion, I'm buying that the discourse is definitely over the top and egregious. I'm selling, though, as of right now, that the NFL feels this way about Tetairoa McMillan. I think the NFL and its evaluators are higher on him right now than the draft talent evaluators are, the analysts are, if you will. Because I think that a lot of those guys, like, they pick up narratives, right? And things start to snowball. And then everybody's talking about, oh, he doesn't have the long speed, blah, 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 right? Like, it's all these different things that they're coming up with that he has problems with. Some of them not even true. Some of them exaggerating kind of, what his problems are. And yeah, I believe that NFL teams at this moment are higher on T-Mac than a lot of talent evaluators are. And yeah, I don't like, people have him outside the top 20 right now. I think it's egregious.
Well, we do have 2 more real quick to look at here. We do have Sports Illustrated's, who has him. Oh, sorry, that was actually still CBS's. My bad. We do have The Ringers, is what I meant to say. Which is actually just the CBS one. I don't know what happened there, Damon. But my point with all that is that there are a lot of different places that T-Mac can go in this draft. Even though
the Ringer had Jacksonville as well, I believe, at 5.
Yeah, I think so, Damon. I do think so. They had him at 5 to Jacksonville.
And Sports Illustrated has him at 22 to the Chargers.
That's the one I was looking for, because our guy, not only is our guy Justin Spears a Chargers fan, and he would be foaming at the mouth about that, but I also think that it kind of indicates that, there are. While we're talking about the overthinking and the implications of it, like there are a lot of places T-Mac can go. And if you're looking for a place to go to watch me and Damon continue our conversation, head over to gophnx.com, because Damon and I are about to enter overtime. Brr, 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 brr. Brr, 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 brr. You know how that goes.
Yep.
Buy or sell, number 2, is going to continue right now. Carter Bryant will return to Arizona next season, Damon.
Which is funny because I think we were just talking about the opposite.
We talked about this last night, Damon and I did, and these were our opinions. And then we got on the show today and we hashed out that conversation. And I think we almost flipped our own opinions here. So I'm actually gonna say screw the graphic because Damon and I think are flip flops now. Because Damon, you said we can't have nice things, right? And now I am saying that Carter Bryant wants the moment to play with his buddies Koa Peat and Braden Burry. So explain why you're buying Carter Bryant.
I don't know. Maybe
back.
I was just needed a W last night. But yeah, that's funny. We were literally talking ourselves into the other way around on this one. But yeah, I'll just like, it feels like a guy who maybe wants to come back. I think that was where I was at last night when I was saying that, Kevin. I do still, when I made that opinion, I do think that he will go through the draft process. And then I guess I came to the realization, talking it out, that typically if you go through the draft process, you're going to the draft.
Back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch to selling.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to buying, mostly because I sold myself the dream. What I did sell was myself on the dream of him waking up this morning thinking, you know what, I can never do again, play with Koa Peat and Braden Burry's, my homies who are also McDonald's All-Americans and also could be first-round draft picks next year. Imagine the 3 horsemen going all to the first round. You know how insufferable you and I are going to be during next year's draft if it's Braden Burry's, Carter Bryant, and Koa Peat all in the top 20? Oh, my God. Feed me more of that. So I'm actually going to switch from selling to buying on Carter Bryant coming back next season because once you lay it out like that, ain't no way he's turning that down for just $3 million. I say that in
pretty
jest.
Funny.
Yeah, I say that in jest.
That was
hilarious.
Pretty hilarious.
That was really good. Buy or sell, number 3. An offense featuring Motiejus Krivas could be improved for Arizona in the Big 12. And as Damon and I realized, the word could in this sentence is doing some heavy lifting.
Yes.
But Damon, you're selling. Why sell you?
As you mentioned, we debated the word choice here because we were doing would or could, right? Will improve or could improve. And yeah, it's either way, one of us was going to get backed into a corner here, kind of speaking in absolutes, right? But I think that Krivas will improve the half-court offense just based off of his ability to put his back to the basket, his post moves, his footwork. Like, he has that over Tobe Awaka and a Henri Veesaar, and it's not even really particularly close. Where I think Krivas hurts you is your transition game, which Arizona was so good at this year, one of the best in the country. I don't really want to lose that strength. I think that strength is big for the Big 12 in particular, and that play style. I think it's great for swarming defenses in the tournament and kill shots, right? That kind of mentality is great for those 10-0 runs that kind of put teams in a grave, right? So I guess where I'm at with it is I think it'll improve the half courto. I'm a little worried that it'll improve the offense overall, because I think it hurts you in a few other regards.
Chat, the reason that this, because pull behind the curtain, I'm making these questions. I'm setting myself up at times.
The Riddler.
I am the Riddler. I don't know what he says, or else I would have dropped a quote there. But the reason I said could instead of will or would is because I don't think that it will look better with Krivas in there next season. If that is the case, I just don't think that there's a world where day one it looks better. But here's where we go could, and here's where I buy, because it could look better next season. And I think that here's what I'm relying on. Here's what I'm hanging my hat on with that, right? Tommy Lloyd had all offseason to plan for Krivas, right? It didn't look great to start the year, but he also didn't have the whole year to warm up into the system and figure that out, right? Be the featured guy. He didn't get the time to do it, and then he got hurt and had to watch from the sidelines as Henri Veesaar figured out everything that he was supposed to figure out, right? I think if Krivas is a savvy guy, he's learned a lot from this past year on the bench. Just watching, soaking up game, talking to Veesaar, talking to Tommy, talking to his coaches. I think he's going to be a better player, even though he has not had the reps to actually play. I think he's going to be a smarter player out there. Not only that, but I think this is Tommy Lloyd's chance to show us what he saw and he's had a whole year in the Big 12 now. He knows what's coming.
He has to. He has pressure on him. Tommy
Exactly.
does.
Exactly. And I think that's going to create, out of necessity, some better looks for Krivas. So it could look better. And I think also what helps Krivas is that he's a big boy. And I know that the big oaf thing isn't the best. I don't like calling him a big oaf, but the big oaf idea isn't really conducive to winning, right? But I do think in the Big 12, a conference that is so physical, even if you're not the most athletic big, if Krivas can move dudes around, it could be effective, because the Big 12 doesn't really have a bunch of super tall, massive bigs. They have some stocky, huge bigs like Tobe Awaka, for example, nor Chadomir, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really have the Henri Veesaars, the Krivases, and like when Arizona faced Kaman Maluak, right? Like a lot of teams don't have that. It's hard to find a skilled 7-footer, right, that can kind of do a little bit of everything like Henri Veesaar. But if you can get a skilled 7-footer who knows how to use his body weight and move dudes around, I think the offense could look improved with Motiejus Krivas featured next season, Damon. But will it? I'm still skeptical on that.
Here's an example of a game where maybe a Krivas could have been helpful, and this is on an offensive perspective, not a defensive perspective at all. But in that first Houston game in McHale, when Arizona's struggling in that final 5 minutes, right, and they can't buy a bucket, and Houston's just making every contested shot, swish on the other end, like those shots couldn't have been more perfect from Uzan in particular. But I think that's where you slow it down a little bit. You get Krivas the ball with his back to the basket, and you hope that he can, manufacture some easy points for you, some high quality looks. But at the same time, I think that's a situation where Juwan Roberts was beating, Tobe Awaka and Henri Veesaar off the dribble. What would he do if he had Mo Krivas matched up on him off the dribble? Like, you have to think about it on both sides of the ball. I think Krivas helps in non-conference potentially. I think he helps against some of the worst teams on the schedule. I'm just not sure that he's that guy for the big games that we need him in. Like Tobe Awaka and Henri Veesaar were so huge this entire season, basically. In almost every big game we played, one of those guys stepped up at a huge level, right? So that's my concern. I think Krivas can kind of just bully a little bit worse opponents and teams with his size and his ability to put the ball in the hoop, but I don't know how good he is, when he's going up against those really, really top level matchups. But Kevin, let's go ahead and move on to our next buy or sell question here.
Next up, this will be Adia Barnes' last season.
Sad.
As Arizona's women's basketball head coach. And unfortunately, I'm not relishing in this, but we are both buying this topic, Damon. I will go first. I'm buying this topic just because there are no vibes that indicate, there's literally no indicators that things will be decent enough, improved at all, or there's no indicators that next season won't look awful for Arizona women's basketball and won't feel sad. I know our friend Erica Elday, our resident women's basketball expert, has literally been going through it over the course of the last couple of weeks about this women's basketball team. And for good reason is my point in bringing that up, because it is very unfortunate to follow a program that doesn't seem to have, 1, a direction, 2, hope, or 3, positive signs of things to go forward, right? Like we haven't got word on the alleged recruit that Adia Barnes is so excited about. We haven't got word on any transfers in. We've just got words on all the best players going out. Paulina Paris is on TikTok. She got jokes about how, they're doing dances with just the last 3 players on the roster. Like, oh, these are the last 3 players on the roster. Hey, oh, it's like this program is a joke right now. What are we doing? And so there is no indication in my estimation, unless a minor miracle happens and Arizona goes crazy in the transfer portal, that Adia Barnes will be back next season as women's basketball head coach at Arizona.
I'm on the same page as you. Her contract expires after this season. There doesn't seem to be any urgency in terms of getting that extended further. And yeah, it feels like that we're kind of coming to an end here because the program is at a place where things are not good. So yeah, I would say that I expect this to be Adia's last season. I hope that that's wrong. I hope that she puts together like this ragtag roster, Kevin.
Same.
And they very much overachieve. They get like 4th in the Big 12. Maybe we win a couple tournament games. And she can kind of start building this thing back up. But I'm definitely not
Not banking
confident.
it.
Yeah, I'm not confident that's necessarily going to be the case. Do we have one more?
We do have uno mas.
Nice.
Arizona baseball will bounce back versus Arizona State in Tempe this week. Damon, I think I made a mistake here.
You did.
I think you're actually selling our sweet dog, Damon Dog, is selling that Arizona baseball will bounce back versus Arizona State this weekend. Let me get that false news off the screen for you, Damon. Why are you selling? Why will the boys not bounce back this week? Lay it on me. Break it down.
Yeah, I'm selling because ASU is playing really, really solid baseball right now. They just got into the rankings. Arizona just dropped out of the rankings with a kind of a tough series against Baylor, losing the series against a Baylor team that is not necessarily, the top of the Big 12 conference, losing to Grand Canyon last night, or was it a couple nights ago now on April Fools. And then you have a series at ASU coming up here on the weekend, Friday through Sunday, and ASU is playing its best baseball of the season right now. As much as I hope I'm wrong about this and Arizona proves me wrong, I do think we have had ASU baseball's number in recent years, so there could be somewhat of a mental block in this matchup. But I am kind of the opinion that ASU is just trending in the right direction right now. U of A, not that they're necessarily going down, but it's just they're not playing the best baseball that they've played so far this season. And just given that it's on the road, I'm thinking 2-1 ASU here, Kevin. But again, I'm doing everything to be wrong, and maybe I even head out to one of these games because that sounds like an electric time out there at Phoenix Muni, rooting on my Cats.
Damon, if you're not doing anything, are they playing Saturday?
They are.
We should go on Saturday, Damon. We should make it a thing. The AZ Wildcats podcast on the road. But yeah, Damon, that'd be kind of fun.
I'm down.
Yeah, it could be fun, Damon. Dog.
Get a couple beers in me.
Yeah, we could do a 999 challenge. Did you see the corny? I'm not trying to I guess I am trying to hate on it. I'm calling it corny twice, multiple cornies. ASU's social media account for their baseball team posted, "Come do the 999 challenge," and it was 9 hot dogs, 9 sodas,
9 DCs,
9 innings,
9 Diet Cokes. Yeah, and there isn't 9 innings. Right?
I don't know.
No, there is.
I'm just I don't know what.
That's softball.
I don't know what we're talking about. The challenge is not to drink 9 sodas. Every half of the population in the middle of America, in the Midwest, does that every day.
I would drop dead if I had 9 sodas.
Damon,
probably on the spot.
I think I would. I don't know. I just feel like it's easier because
we don't have a pulse. 9 Dr. Peppers did it to him.
He's not breathing. He's just fizzing. He's fizzing at the mouth.
Yeah, just soda fizz. Orange Fanta.
It's just the little, when you pour a soda into one of the clear cups, there's these little explosions, the little flares of carbonation at the top. Yeah. Your mouth is just flaring out with carbonation. But yeah, Damon, I do think Arizona bounces back. I think this is a set where you have a rival, you're on the road, but it's not far away from you. This is kind of your chance, home away from home, to get something done, get back on track.
We do own all of ASU's stadiums.
Yeah, so. It's genuinely not far from the best city in Arizona, and that is Tucson. And yeah, Damon, that's why I am buying. I think it's a spot where, not a get right spot because Arizona State's a very good squad, but it's not the worst road rivalry game you could have at this point in the year when you're trying to get back to the early season form that you had. So I think they'll figure it out and they will get back on track. And that is it for buy or sell today, Damon. And I think that'll also be it for our show today.
Yeah, that's going to do it for the AZ Wildcats podcast. We're going to be talking more T-Mac as things go on, and I definitely have a lot more thoughts on just kind of what's surrounding T-Mac right now. But that was the AZ Wildcats podcast for today. He is Kevin Thomas. You can follow him at Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. Follow me at Damon Dog, DAWG at the end of that guy. Follow our main account at PHNX_Wildcats as well. Why don't you follow Erica? Follow Erica L Day at Erica
You
Lee
get
Day.
a shout out. You get a shout out. You get a shout out.
Yeah, follow Saul Bookman, Saul_Bookman.
Follow
just start throwing follows at everybody,
Who else we got to follow? Justin Spears.
Yeah, follow
at Justin E Sports.
Yep.
Man,
nailed it.
I think that's about the squad. That's about the squad. Right
that is the squad. Yeah. That is the squad. Follow Cohen.
Yeah, follow
Cohen Kinney at Cohen Kinney. Coein, Kinney, how you'd spell it. Yeah. So follow everybody. Follow our show account. Shout out everybody who was in the chat today. Make sure you guys drop a like on this video. 30 likes right now. Let's get up to 50 here. I think we can do that. And Kevin, it was another great day of talking Arizona athletics with you, brother.
It was real. It was fun. It was real fun, Damon Dog.
Let's do it again tomorrow. We will be back for a Friday edition, 12 p.m. AZ Wildcats podcast. Until then, peace, bear down.
And go Cats. It was fun. Stay safe. And always go Cats.
We all silly like the mayor.